Discord doesn't want me to say this, but when you sign up for Discord and agreed to their terms of service, you signed away your rights. You agreed to not take Discord to court. Now, I'm nowhere close to a lawyer, but I'm going to explain what's going on, why this is bad, and how to opt out of this. Now, to explain what's going on, you might have seen in the news that a lot of people are talking about how Discord wants to void your right to sue them in court. And all of these articles are popping up because recently Discord updated their terms of service. You know, the thing that nobody reads. And the most important part about Discord's terms of service is this point here: agreement to arbitrate. So everything I'm going to talk about is for US residents, but even as a non-US resident, I find this stuff pretty interesting. If you are a US resident, you agree to the following mandatory arbitration provision. Oh, we're getting fancy with the words here, geez. Basically, if you want to sue Discord for whatever reason, you can't just go to the normal courts. Instead, you have to do something called arbitration. Now, I already know what you're thinking. I'm not going to sue Discord. I don't think I'm going to be suing Discord either, but this agreement to arbitrate really cripples you, because now instead of doing like class action lawsuits, normal legal stuff, you are forced to arbitrate. And to explain how big of an issue this could potentially be, let me show you how this arbitration would work if Discord did a little bit of a whoopsie-fucky-uppy. So let's say Discord does what they do best: make poor decisions. And somehow in some point in the future, Discord has a big data breach. Or maybe there's this massive cyber criminal group that used Discord to scam millions of people for billions of dollars. And we figured out through a little bit of investigation that Discord did nothing to stop it. Or maybe it turns out that Discord was training your messages on AI, even though they said they wouldn't. Now let me be super clear. I made these up. These are hypothetical situations that could happen in the future. In reality, Discord actually has been sued. Parents sued Discord because their children were experiencing what happens a lot on Discord, unfortunately. So this real life example plus all of those fake potential scenarios would be perfect for a class action lawsuit. Now, do you see that handsome man on the screen? Yeah, that's me. And I definitely know what a class action lawsuit is, and I didn't have to go on Wikipedia to figure it out. But basically, a class action lawsuit is where a whole bunch of people were affected by something that Discord might have done. Let's say there was a data breach. Well, all of those people will group up, and they will be represented collectively by a couple of lawyers, and they will sue Discord for buckets of money. Man, it'd be nice to have some of that money, right? Well, you can't, because you agreed to arbitrate. You cannot be part of the class action lawsuits. That means if Discord did anything stupid and you want to sue Discord, you literally need to 1v1 Discord's legal team through arbitration. And it's not just Discord's arbitration process, but you also agreed to Discord's dispute process. And again, you agreed to this because you agreed to the terms of service. Now, it's never a good idea to trust a Discord YouTuber about legal stuff, but I took a look around the internet and there are articles where it talks about people opposing forced arbitration. And the reasons why they oppose arbitration is, first, that individuals are often unaware that they agreed to force arbitration. Let's be honest, before this video even started, did you have any clue that this existed? Media did a pretty good job with all their news articles, but you probably had no idea, which is a bad thing, because the second issue with forced arbitration is that it limits what you can do for resolving a dispute. You don't have the public courts anymore. You have to go through Discord's process of arbitration. And how does that look like? Well, if you want to settle a dispute between you and Discord, welcome to Discord's legal gauntlet of doom. So let's say Discord did the most heinous crime on the planet. They stole my copy of Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube. Well, since I agreed to Discord's terms of service, I also agreed to reaching out to Discord before initiating a lawsuit or arbitration. And to do that, I need to email Discord with my information and a detailed description of the issue and how I'd like them to resolve it. Now, this is where things get interesting, because Discord for the next 60 days are going to try and gaslight me into thinking that this is not a big deal. You didn't need Luigi's Mansion. It was actually ours in the first place. I realize this example isn't making a whole lot of sense, but within these 60 days, Discord and their legal team, in my opinion, are going to try and gaslight you into thinking it's not a big deal, you shouldn't try to sue us or take us to arbitration. That's expensive. Just take $20 and be on your way. But if you see through their shadiness and you decide to take them to court, well, you can't, because you agreed to arbitration. So now it's time to go to arbitration. Now, what is arbitration? Well, Discord outlines what it is, but holy shit, it is dense and boring, and it really doesn't matter about the details because you're going to be opting out, which I'll show you how to do later, and you should do that. But arbitration is kind of this informal court. You have Discord and their lawyer, you and hopefully your lawyer, and then you have an arbitrator in the middle, who is usually an ex-judge who will hear both sides of the stories, what damages you want, etc., all the details. So the arbitrator will use all that information and the Tonka gears in their brain to make a decision. And this is where things start to get bad, and why this whole arbitration clause is bad. Because here's the thing, Discord Discord's arbitration is binding on both you and Discord. So what that means is once the arbitrator comes to a conclusion, you have to do what they say. You can't appeal it. And remember that website made by people who knew what they were talking about? Well, they also pointed out the same issue. Arbitration is a private system without a judge, jury, or a right to appeal. So we know that once the arbitrator makes their decision, you can't appeal it. That's just how it is. But things are even worse because arbitrators aren't required to take the law and legal precedent into account in making their decisions. So any past legal case, they're not going to think about that. And the thing that really ticks me off the most is the fact that there is no appeal or public review of any of the decisions. All of this is private. If this isn't public, then people don't know what bad stuff Discord has done because it's all settled privately behind closed doors. No one can know about it. And do you want to know the best part about Discord forcing you to arbitrate? It's the fact that you've been forced to arbitrate since 2018. Back on October 16th of 2018, Discord made a blog post talking about the terms of service feedback and changes. And during this time, they introduced their new arbitration and class action waiver clause. And the thing about this article is that it actually peels back the curtain a little bit because Discord explains why they changed it. This is what Discord wants you to think when in reality it's a little bit different. Discord says that the current legal landscape in the United States of America is such that class action lawsuits can be abused. We at Discord are just trying to protect ourselves from the evil people. It seems rational, but let's actually see what the reality is. Discord doesn't want any class action lawsuit against them, even if Discord makes a royal f*** up. If they leak all of your data, they don't want to be involved in a class action lawsuit. This is solely used to reduce Discord's liability. Most people aren't going to solo 1v1 mono Discord's legal team because they are corporate lawyers. Those people aren't human. They're aliens. But class action lawsuit lawyers are a whole different breed of monster. And with a class action lawsuit, it's just a lot easier to sue Discord because they do all the work for you. But if you agree to arbitrate, you can't be in a class action lawsuit because you didn't opt out. And if you're not part of the class action lawsuit, then Discord doesn't have to pay as much money, which explains why they force you to arbitrate. But the thing is that not everything is black and white because class action lawsuits have a lot of cons and a lot of pros. For example, there was a class action lawsuit against Facebook in Canada where they used a whole bunch of people's faces for sponsored stories, and they sued them for a whopping 51 million Canadian dollars. And what do you get for being in Facebook's ad without your consent? $200. $51 million, and you get 200. So, where did the $51 million go? Well, it goes to those good old class action lawyers who probably use it to, like, I don't know, buy another fucking yacht or something. For legal reasons, this is my opinion. Please do not sue me. But the benefits of class action lawsuits is that it punishes Discord a lot. If Discord had to pay $51 million for their big royal fuck-up, that is a good punishment. And Discord wants to avoid being punished, so they're going to be a good company. And Discord's going to be more inclined to do that if everyone opts out of the arbitration clause. Now, just like class action lawsuits, arbitration is a mix of both good and bad. It's not just 100% evil or 100% positive. It's confusing as all heck because arbitration itself is really expensive. But if you look through Discord's arbitration agreement, they actually do something pretty good. You're going to be responsible for the first $100 towards the filing fee. And if you're seeking less than $75,000, Discord will pay the remainder of the filing fee and both parties' administrative fees. Unless, of course, the arbitrator finds that you're making a completely bogus legal statement or it's frivolous, but Discord will cover your costs, assuming you're not trying to seek more than $75,000. So that is a benefit, but if you take a step back and think about it for a second, Discord would much rather pay $75,000 than, $51 million. So business-wise, it makes a whole bunch of sense for Discord to do this. And for the rest of the pros and cons about arbitration, funny enough, Discord actually put them in their terms of service blog post because if you scroll down, they have a whole bunch of resources, but they have this article here pointing out how someone can abuse class action lawsuits. And if we open it up, it talks about how Netflix class action lawsuit shows that class action lawsuits are mostly about making lawyers rich, which I can agree with this. However, they also made a blog post as a counterpoint. Here's another article by the same dude detailing how arbitration is not much better. And if we open it up, it says that the system may be bad, but arbitration is worse. And the thing about this article that I really want to point out is that they say in cases between businesses and individuals, which most likely will happen if you go to arbitration with Discord, businesses win nearly 97% of the time. 97%. And it's not hard to see why, because arbitrators are usually chosen jointly by both parties, but the companies are the ones that are going to be back for more and more arbitration. And if an arbitrator rules against the company, then they won't be on the future list at all. Like these people say, it doesn't take a genius in game theory to recognize that the arbitrator will be under tremendous pressure to side with the company so that they can, keep their job. Everyone is about self-preservation, and the companies exploit it so that they win 97% of the time. All right, I'm going to stop role-playing as Saul Goodman, and I'm just going to hit it with you straight. If this arbitration agreement was meant to protect you only, Discord wouldn't force you to arbitrate. This arbitration agreement is only to protect Discord's best interests. So instead of losing 97% of the time, let's figure out how to opt out of this agreement. You can actually opt out of arbitration by emailing an opt-out notice to Discord, which I'll show you how to do, but the main thing I want to point out is that if you opt out of arbitration, nothing will happen to your Discord account. You won't be punished, nothing. Now, the super important thing is that you have a time limit when you can opt out, and right now you need to opt out within 30 days of April 15th, 2024. So that means that you need to opt out by May 15th, which is pretty soon, so get on it right now. And just as a side note, if you register your Discord account, you can opt out within 30 days of making it. But you're a Discord degenerate. You've been on Discord for multiple years, I know you. But like I said at the beginning, this only applies to people in the United States. If you ain't part of America, you don't need to worry about any of this, so you can click off the video now. Bye-bye, I love you. Mwah. All right, my freedom people, let's do this opt-out. So what you need to do is you need to send an email to arbitration-optout@discord.com. Again, this will be in the description, just copy and paste it so you don't mess anything up. For the subject line, we're going to do arbitration opt-out-user ID. We're going to fill out the user ID a little bit later, and then copy and paste the body of the email. Now, we need to replace this user ID, email, and name with actual information. So I filled out both the email and the name because that's obvious, but now we need to find our user ID, which you might have not done before. But what you need to do is you need to go into Discord, go to your user settings, scroll down to advanced, then you need to enable developer mode. Once you do that, go into any one of your Discord servers, send a message, then right-click your name and click copy user ID. This is a unique number that identifies your Discord account. And we need to include this because if you change your account's email, you kind of just want a paper trail, okay? This is just covering your ass. So we got this big number. We're going to go into Discord and we are going to replace user ID with that number, both in the subject line and also in the body where it says user ID. Now at this point, if you're American, click on that big send button, baby. You want to send this email to Discord and also make sure to save this email. Keep this for your records in case you ever do need to sue Discord, which hopefully you don't have to. But again, I'm surprised every day by what happens on Discord because every day you just get your brain rotted even more. That's all I got, gamers. Hopefully the legal jargon that I was explaining was actually tolerable. And chances are, while I'm editing this thing, I'm gonna try my best to make it somehow enjoyable. If I did it, good job me. I'm giving myself a pat on the back. Anyways, that's enough inflating my ego. I'm gonna call it quits. I love you, gamer. Mwah!